And don't fear failure, okay? It's not failure. It's just learning to do things in a new way. We're adults. We can make changes. We know how. You have the skill, you have the talent, you have the ability. Just get in and get going. This is Katie Gordon, and you're listening to the Wait is Over podcast. Welcome, health and freedom seekers. Sit back and relax as you come on this journey of overcoming obstacles so you can lose weight, gain health, and live the life you've been looking for. Hello, listeners, and welcome to this week's show. I'm your host, Katie Gordon, and the wait is over with Dietless Living 360 degrees. There's no recipes, food regimes, or exercise programs to follow. This is simply about how to take your life back, how to take control, because we all have a voice and we want to be heard. We want to forget about dieting, focus on living, and lose weight. But to do that, we have to create a new mindset, a mindset that gets us over the obstacles and challenges of life and our own unconscious programs, because ultimately that's what's impacting on our health and weight and causing habit relapse. And the purpose of this podcast is to share with you what I learned over 25 years in dieting hell and spending over $100,000 working out how to step into dietless living. And today we're talking about getting started, making a move, getting going. So it's nearly the end of February. How are you going with your New Year's resolution? Maybe you didn't even make a New Year's resolution. So this is the time now to kind of really start thinking about it and go, okay, well, we're into February. What do I want to be different this time next year? And we often put a big obstacle in front of ourselves about actually getting started, because either we don't know where to begin, and perhaps we've tried things in the past and there's a part of us that's really just afraid of getting our hopes up that we can make a change and not quite getting there and losing our emotional shirt. So that was always the case for me, especially towards the end of that 25-year cycle, where I was starting to feel quite defeated about my ability to be able to make change. I'd given it so many red hot goes that, sometimes it just felt like I don't want to give away my emotional shirt again because it's just too painful. But getting started is actually really simple. And if we don't get started, we will simply be in the same position this time next year. Nobody wants that. So the first thing that we need to do is actually trust ourselves that we know what we have to do. We do know what we have to do, and we can trust ourselves to actually do it, because anyone can actually achieve anything as long as we break it down to the smallest step, as long as we break it down to the tiniest thing that we have to do. Usually it's so big, we think, I have to make so many changes, I have to do so many things, that it's a bit daunting, and we kind of, your brain goes, that's too much. But if we just break everything right down to the very, very first step, the smallest step, and remove time limits. Time limits are, they're a soul-crushing thing that looms in front of us. Oh my God, I'm not, where I want to be, and I've only got this amount of time left. It puts pressure on us. Now, I do actually like the saying, that nothing happens without a deadline, because that's true. However, we often just make really unrealistic deadlines for ourselves. I have to be, a size 10 by the end of March, or I have to lose 12 kilos in 10 weeks, or, some of these ridiculous goals that we have, which have all been sort of put in our head through different marketing programs, etc. So just put all that aside and just say to yourself, okay, It's going to take as long as it takes, but as long as I start now, then in 12 months, I will be in a different place. I will have advanced. Something will have shifted, and I will have learned more about how to take control of my own life than I'm experiencing now. So let me just give you a couple of hints on what to do to get started. So don't jump in boots and all. Like, that's usually my thing. I leap in, do everything all at once, make all these changes to everything, and it's just too much and not sustainable. So we just have to make a plan. Got to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, and it doesn't have to be a big worldly plan, sometimes it can be, but it doesn't have to be. It just has to be, I need to change all of these things, but I'm just going to start here and with this one thing. So it's make the plan and then roll out the changes incrementally. Think about plate spinners, and jugglers. So to get all those plates spinning in the air, a plate spinner picks up one and they get that spinning. And when that one's spinning, then they get up another plate and they get that spinning, and they keep them spinning. And as they've got more plates spinning, they bring in another one. And that's how you actually make changes for yourself. Just get something started, keep it spinning, and then bring in another change. And that's how you really start to build momentum. The second thing is schedule it in. I'm sure you've heard this before, but really scheduling in for me simply means writing down your whole day. So I do literally have a diary on the kitchen bench top that lists out my day. And even though my days are very, 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 very similar every week, sometimes there's things that I have to pop in there. It lets me see exactly what it is, how my day works, and if I want to bring in something else. So for example, if I wanted to bring my exercise back in, it had fallen off a bit towards the end of last year. And I went, okay, so where have I got it? I've written it in. It's in there at 7 a.m. every morning, and I haven't been doing it. I can look back through my diary and it's not been highlighted as much as it should be. So I look at my schedule and I remember what I've been doing, and that allows me then to go, well, that's still the 7 o'clock time slot that I want. Why hasn't it been happening? And then I can adjust other things. So another example might be for you write in, I'm going to have lunch. So a lot of people don't have breakfast, don't have lunch, or don't have dinner. They snack all day. So perhaps in your schedule, you've got a reminder that says, no snacking today, breakfast at this time, lunch at this time, dinner at this time. And then you just write that down for each day with the other things that you need to do. So you need to write in the time that you get up, the other chores that you need to do, the things like you've got certain times that you're doing things, write them all in your diary. And then the next thing to do is at the end of the week is to revise that. Like I said, my 7 o'clock gym thing wasn't happening. Why isn't it happening? And start to make changes, move it around. If you're writing in that I'm going to have lunch at 12 o'clock and you 4 days in a row or 5 days in a row, or maybe the whole 7, you didn't have lunch, then you need to think about, A, is it in the wrong time? B, if it's in the right time, what do I need to do to make it different? And a really good way is at the end of each day is look at your schedule and go, where was I on track? And then ask yourself, if I could do the day differently, like if I could do the day over, what would I do differently? And that usually illuminates what you could have shifted to hit that mark. And really, that's the short and sweet of it. It's as easy as that. Make a plan, schedule it in, review your schedule each week. Get one plate spinning at a time and then bring in something else. Small adjustments made over time give you the greatest success and the biggest impact on your health and weight, because change is actually the obstacle that we have to overcome, and we have to be able to lead ourselves through the resistance from our own self, through the resistance of our own routines, habits, and behaviors that we're just on autopilot doing. To bring in something new and make a change, we just have to be aware, we have to schedule it in, and we have to plan to do it. And don't do everything at once. Just roll out changes incrementally. And don't fear failure, okay? It's not failure. It's just learning to do things in a new way. We're adults. We can make changes. We know how. You have the skill, you have the talent, you have the ability. Just get in and get going and make some changes. It's as simple as that. So thanks for listening today or watching. If you want help with this, just book in for a private session and let's just get it done this week, because life is for living and an ounce of adjustment is easier to implement than 20 pounds of change. It's time to enjoy the life that you've been looking for.